Jules Verne's stories have been turned into movies for more than 100 years. Some are close to his books, others take big liberties, but a few stand out because they really show the adventure and imagination that made his work so famous. These are the films many would say got it right. And if you have other picks, share them in the comments. It's not easy to describe a sci-fi classic brought to the screen with the kind of skill Disney showed in this 1954 adaptation. Between a cast of big-name actors and strong visual design, the film does justice to the novel's sense of exploration. It isn't flawless. Staying close to the book's episodic structure makes it uneven at times, but the result is still admirable. Kirk Douglas plays Ned Land with lighthearted energy, while James Mason delivers a more serious and psychological Captain Nemo. One adds charm, the other intensity. The movie is built on thrilling escapades, supported by detailed sets, bold costumes, and camera work that pulls the audience into the Nautilus and down into the ocean. Journey to the Center of the Earth begins in Edinburgh in 1860, when Professor Oliver Lindenbrook receives a rock as a gift and discovers it hides a clue pointing the way to the Earth's core. Lindenbrook organizes an expedition, facing rivals and sabotage before descending through a volcano in Iceland into a hidden world. Jules Verne's novel was dark and claustrophobic, but the film turns it into a bright cinemascope spectacle filled with crystals, glowing pools, giant mushrooms, and even Atlantis. The additions lean toward playfulness. Lizards enlarged to look like dinosaurs, a duck traveling with the group, and Pat Boone singing, playing accordion, and even ending up in a convent tree without pants after a volcanic eruption. At times it feels more like a colorful romp than an adventure story, but the sets and effects remain visually impressive. Bernard Herrmann's sweeping score gives the fantasy extra scale, helping hold together a long but striking film. Jules Verne's Mysterious Island was written as a follow-up to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, with Captain Nemo and the Nautilus appearing only late in the novel. The 1961 film keeps the opening. Union soldiers escape the Civil War in a hot air balloon and land on a remote island. The survival story is no longer enough, so the film adds new twists. 2 English women for romantic interest, and giant animals created through Ray Harryhausen's stop motion. What Verne wrote as a straightforward survival adventure becomes a mix of monster spectacle and fantasy invention. Still, Harryhausen's creatures are fun, and the balloon storm sequence, paired with Bernard Herrmann's sweeping score, remains one of the most exciting moments in the film. This Czech adaptation tells the story of engineer Simon Hart and Professor Roch, kidnapped by pirates and taken to a secret island. Count Artigas forces Roch to work on a powerful explosive, while Simon looks for a way to escape and warn the outside world. The film is based mainly on Verne's Facing the Flag, and what sets it apart is its style. Instead of looking like a regular movie, it copies the illustrations from Verne's books. Waves, skies, and buildings all appear drawn with fine lines, while real actors move through scenes that shift between animation and live action. The screen is full of odd machines, submarines with fins, pedal-powered airships, and other contraptions that feel straight out of Verne's pages. It's adventurous, funny in places, and completely different from anything else made at the time. In 1868, a strange voice echoes from a volcano in Pennsylvania, warning of divine judgment. When a balloon expedition investigates, it's shot down by rockets and captured aboard the Albatross, a giant flying ship. Its creator, Robur, reveals himself as a militant pacifist, determined to bomb armies and fleets until nations abandon war. The film mixes spectacle with ideas. Robur's vision of enforced peace puts him in constant conflict with his unwilling passengers, and the script isn't afraid to question both sides. Vincent Price brings a mix of authority and menace to Robur, while Charles Bronson plays John Strock, the pragmatic government agent caught in the middle. The albatross model looks impressive gliding through the skies, even if other effects rely on clumsy stock footage. If you want to simplify, you can call it Nemo in the sky, but in the end, it's still something more. Here we get another Disney take on Jules Verne. This time it's In Search of the Castaways, based on his 1867 novel. The story begins when a message in a bottle is found from the missing Captain Grant. His children, Mary and Robert, team up with Lord Glenarvan and Professor Paganel to try and rescue him. The only clue is a single latitude line, the 37th parallel, so they follow it across the world. Their search takes them from South America to Australia to New Zealand, running into floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, and one improbable escape after another. What keeps the film from being a true classic are the special effects. The visuals are dated, and the green screen work looks rough today. And really, instead of another live-action remake, Disney could dust this one off and give it the modern adaptation it deserves. The Light at the Edge of the World is a 1971 adaptation of the novel of the same name. Kirk Douglas plays Will Denton, a man trying to escape his past while tending a lonely lighthouse on a remote island. His peace is shattered when a band of pirates led by Yul Brynner arrives. Their plan is simple and cruel. Put out the light so ships crash on the rocks, then plunder the wrecks. Denton joins forces with a shipwreck survivor and strikes back, using the caves and cliffs as his weapons. The film had the budget, the stars, and the look, but it failed at the box office. The original cut was darker and more violent, yet it was trimmed down to aim for a family rating. That compromise left it in limbo, too grim for kids, too softened for adults. In its uncut form, though, it plays as a fierce and thrilling adventure that might have earned far more praise. This one isn't a direct adaptation of Jules Verne, but it was heavily inspired by his novel From the Earth to the Moon and its sequel Around the Moon, so we'll count it as an honorable mention. Made in 1902 by French filmmaker Georges Méliès, it's the earliest film on this list and one of the most influential in cinema history. The short runs about 15 minutes and follows a group of astronomers who launch themselves to the moon. Méliès used stage magic, painted sets, and practical tricks to bring the journey to life. What happens on the moon is more fantasy than science, but the film's influence on the entire genre of science fiction is impossible to overstate.